think that I was great.
Oh, don't tell me you stopped thinking you were great. That would be heartbreaking.
Well, I stopped talking to myself. I stopped seeing myself for what I really am. I guess I started to take myself for granted.
Let's have a pointless round of applause there, can we? Thank you. All right. So, Luella, what did you do next?
Well, I confronted myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I waited until I got home one day, and I confronted myself. I said, hey, lady, what are you doing? You know?
How unbearably tense. And how did you respond?
Well, you know, I started to shift around and started blaming all kinds of other things. But in the end, you know, I had to admit that, yes, I was sleeping with someone else.
I don't think I've ever been more emotionally knotted up than I am at the moment. Ask a question.
I'd just like to ask Luella where she gets her strength from.
Luella, lady here wants to know where the mascaraed ass you get your strength from.
Well, now, can I answer that with a question?
Can she?
Oh, I'd like that.
She'd like that.
Right, well, I want you to do something for me. I want you to stand in front of a mirror, okay? Take all your clothes off. No, hey, look, I'm serious. It's what I did. You know, I stood naked in front of a mirror, and I looked at myself, and I said, I love me. I love me for what I am. I love my whining aggression. You know, I love my hideous, suffocating self-pity. I love the fact that I'm a neurotic and that I demand the world's respect without having to do a single thing to earn it. I'm me. I'm special. I'm crazy about the way I am. Now, will you do that for me?
I surely will.
Right, well, I think we'd better take a vomit break now, but don't go away.
Between desire and reality.
A bit.
Between fact and breakfast. Madness, lies, lies, lies.
A bit.
I hate you, and yet I hate you with love, rage, and aches of the ear. Pretension by Friar Laurie.
Ladies and gentlemen, a broad, wet kiss of a welcome, with tongues, obviously, to this edition of A Bit of Friar Laurie.
That's right. Over the next 30 minutes or so, we'd like you to make yourself at home. If you are at home, that is. If you're in a hotel, make yourself in a hotel. Well,
My colleague, you have a way with words that reminds me of my old geography teacher after he'd had a couple.
couple of what?
Very serious car accidents. But the substance of his speech is right in there, kicking ass and cutting mustard, and that is, be comfortable.
Be comfortable, exactly.
In fact, I believe, my colleague, you've actually written a song called Be Comfortable.
Indeed I have.
Very interesting. Well, now we move on to that part of the show where we introduce what used to be called guests and are now called hospitality customers onto the show. And first out of the linen press is a man, well, is man a big enough word? He's got 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 legs and 1 bottom, certainly, but there the resemblance to ordinary mortals ends. He's the friend of stars and the star of friends. Lord Owen described his contribution to the peace process in Bosnia as meaningless and insulting. His children call him Daddy, his wife calls him regularly. The underpants that he wears today, you will wear tomorrow. His light shines shines in the darkness whenever he leaves it on. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please receive in complete and utter contempt and silence actor, long jumper, high jumper, bungee jumper, woolly jumper, queue jumper, and anything in skirts jumper, Mr. Stephen Moore. Stephen, lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you.
I mentioned your bottom earlier on in my introduction, and that's because it's particularly close to your heart, I believe.
What, you're saying I'm short?
Yes.
No, what my colleague is saying is that you have something that you'd like to tell us about bottoms.
Yes. Well, yes, Stephen, that's right. You see, when I was a younger man...
No. No, I'm Hugh.
Sorry?
That's Stephen. Stephen Hugh.
Oh, yeah, right, yes. Yeah, I don't watch your stuff, you see, so...
Right, well, I think we ought to just move as swiftly on as we can, my colleague.
Right, well, next into the hot seat. I don't know why I call it that, really. It's actually quite a pleasantly cool seat. So next into the quite pleasantly cool seat is a small but serviceable fishing smack. But is small but serviceable fishing smack really the right description? No, I don't think it is. I think woman is better. A woman whose photograph you've no doubt licked at one time or another. She drives a hard bargain and a Fiat Tipo. She breaks wind like an angel and eats macaroni like a bloody warthog. Her remarkable lino cuts have disfigured her kitchen floor, and her hairstyle was believed by many to be the inspiration behind Margaret Thatcher's final descent into madness. So, will you please now make the traditional Maweli gesture of welcome for Phillida Law. So, Phillida, hi.
Hello.
You've changed.
No, I wore this on the way here.
No, I meant you've changed your dress.
It didn't really work, did it? No. Well, anyway, 3 more civil wars have broken out in Europe while we've been sitting here a-gassing, so before the whole world bursts into flames, there's just time for me to ask you to hand round the contoured butt plugs. And, Simon, would you be kind enough to slam your head in a fire door?
The name's Stephen.
I almost care.
Time now to release the handbrake and slip gently but with gathering speed down into the green dell that we call the Valley of Sketches. See you there in a moment.
Michael, you must be very thrilled with that result. Take us through the race.
Yes, well, I was not very happy with the car. We had a lot of problems, and the car was not so good, I think.
Yes, but you won. It's a great result for you. You must be very happy.
Well, we had a lot of problems with the car, and I was not so happy. It was very hard.
Yes, but you won.
I won, yes, but there were many problems, and it was very hard and difficult, and I was not happy at all with the car.
Yes, but you did actually win. Can I get that straight? You actually won the race.
With a lot of problems, yes, I know it was very hard.
Yeah, well, just leaving aside for the moment how hard it was, are you happy to have won the race?
Well, it was very difficult.
Yes, well, presumably it was difficult. Presumably that's why you get paid £500,000 per race and get as much sex as you can eat. I just need to know if this makes you happy, having won the race. Delighted, enchanté, over the frigging moon.
Well, we had a lot of problems.
Are you happy?
It was very difficult.
Are you happy?
Many problems.
Are you arsing well happy, you dismal, moaning French twat? You do a job that half of mankind would kill to be able to do, and you can have sex with the other half as often as you like. I just need to know if this makes you happy.
We had a lot of problems.
See this? Made in England. And this? Made in England. And this? Made in England. And, if you please, this? Made in England. And all Sir Dickie Putnam et al. Can do is whinge on about the death of the British film industry.
She was mad. She was mad, she was paranoid, she was megalomaniac, she was deluded. But somehow, you know, when she was in charge, Blue Peter was Blue Peter.
When the news of John Major's election came through, I was in the kitchen glazing my buns, and Michael, my husband, came through, and we broke open a bottle of champagne and tried to cut our throats with it.
That Home Secretary, he's a twit, isn't he?
You are Councillor Kenneth Wade?
I am.
I hope you're aware, Councillor Wade, that this is an informal hearing.
Yes, most certainly. I'd just like to say at the outset that I have done absolutely nothing of which I'm ashamed, and that I stand by my record in local government. Having said that, I'm perfectly prepared to cooperate fully with this inquiry and answer such questions as you may see fit to put.
You were elected to the Grangeley City Council, Mr. Wade, on a ticket of, let me see.
On a ticket of providing value for money for our charge-paying customers, and for injecting new standards of decency, honour and family values into the community.
Fine words, no doubt, Mr. Wade. You were, I believe, in charge of the contracting out of the council's cleaning department.
Cleansing department. We say cleansing, not cleaning.
Why?
Because it annoys people, I suppose.
And the company you chose was called Wade Cleaning Services.
Cleansing, Wade cleansing. Slogan, we know the mensing of cleansing.
Wade Cleansing is wholly owned and run by your wife.
Yes, the matter was fully investigated by an independent inquiry at the time.
Yes, Wade Independent Tribunals Limited.
Certainly, the old publicly run inquiry services were expensive and inefficient. We contracted out to Wade Independent Tribunals Limited, who offered a competitive, hard-hitting and business-oriented independent tribunal and inquiry service.
Which is wholly owned and run by your son, Geoffrey.
As it happens, yes.
Who's 5 months old.
5.5 months old. Geoffrey put together a most attractive bid. I was proud of the lad.
Geoffrey's mother, however, is not your wife, but your secretary, Miss Valerie Jeffcott.
Yes, the sexual service that my wife was offering was inefficient, old-fashioned, cumbersome, and especially after the birth of our first children, overstretched and with a tendency to too much waste. I decided to contract out my sexual requirements and put them out for competitive tender in the marketplace. My secretary, Valerie, offered a sexual service that was faster, tighter, certainly, more efficient, streamlined and slimmed down than my wife's.
I thought you stood for family values and clean living.
Cleanse living.
In your electoral literature, for instance, you promised to come down hard on homosexuals.
Since I've been in office, I've spent a great deal of money and energy coming down very hard indeed on homosexuals.
Yes, to return to financial matters, Mr. Wade, do you think it is appropriate that in these very lean times...
In these very lens times.
Whatever. The point is, you have been accused of making a lot of money from being a councillor.
Oh, yes, there we have it, don't we? There we have it. Accused. Suddenly it's a crime to make money. This is an attitude I have to deal with every day nowadays. Well, I'm sorry. When I grew up, profit was not a dirty word. Arse was a dirty word. Scrotum and titty were pretty dirty words too. But profit wasn't. And I have to tell you that I'm not ashamed of graft, of sheer bloody hard graft, or is graft a dirty word as well now, like botty and helmet?
I think we've heard more than enough, councillor. This may be an informal hearing, but frankly, I think we're all agreed.
Yeah.
Yes?
No questions. It's all there.
Good. Kenneth Wade, your name will now go forward as that of our officially adopted parliamentary candidate for the Grangeley constituency. Congratulations, Ken.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Long live Britain.
God save the Queens.
The stuff I deal with is mostly small stuff, you know, car stereos, that kind of thing. Well, I'll get you something bigger if you want it.
If history has taught us one thing, it has taught us that the Battle of Agincourt was in 1415.
You know, these, they just come over here and sponge, don't they? You know, these queers, these sponging queers come over here and sign on the dole. Or is that black people? Get so confused sometimes. I was hit on the head as a child, you see.
Well, I'm afraid weight has been a perennial problem with me. I've tried all the diets. I tried the hip and thigh diet, and it didn't work for me at all, because I've always hated the taste of thighs, even when well done.
Yeah, phone sex is good. I like that phone sex. At least you never have to ring them the next day.
It's red, it's shiny, it's instantly desirable, and it's remarkably cheap. Only one drawback. It doesn't yet exist. We wondered why not. Douglas Hurd has been Foreign Secretary now for a record 5 years. If anyone knows, it'll be Gordon Wade of Market Soundings plc. Gordon, it's red, it's shiny, everyone wants one, it needn't cost a fortune, and it isn't tested on animals, but it doesn't exist. What's going on?
I don't know. I'm sorry. It should exist, I know that. All I can say is that we are working on it.
Mm-hmm. Have you settled on a name for it yet?
Not as of yet, although the project does have a working title.
I think it's just time to ask you, what is it?
The name at the moment is Mark Bannister.
Mark Bannister. Price?
About £3.50, we hope, but it could go as high as £90,000.
£90,000?
Yes, rather depends on what it does, you see, and how much it costs to make it. But these costs are just details.
I see. The basic message so far is that you are going ahead. We might expect to see Mark Bannisters in our shops pretty soon. Fair answer. My colleague, it's over to you. Well, as you can see, that is quite a total.
Thanks so much.
Let's see if we can't get it over 5 million in our telephone quizline quiz.
Stephen, off you go.
Thanks, David. Who was the first man to run the 4-minute mile? Was it A, the Battle of Cressy, B, Moonraker, or C, the athlete and fast record-breaking fast miler Sir Roger 4-Minute Bannister, the famous runner?
If you think you know the answer, you could qualify for being one of the people who got the answer right. All your calls will be charged at £400 a second.
And do remember that all the money, the moment you call, goes directly to British Telecom.
That's right. BT uses only recorded voices and employs no operators or staff, so there's no wasteful expenditure on salaries and employment. The money goes directly where it's needed. To men like Philip.
Philip is on the board of British Telecom, for which he receives just £84,000 a year. To pay for Philip's 3 homes, his 6 cars, his yacht and his helicopter with ensuite cocaine habit, Philip desperately relies on the yearly dividend payout from his British Telecom shares. Last year, your calls to our quiz lines were kind enough to give Philip nearly £400,000 in dividends. But this year, Philip needs even more. So do call, and if you don't call, do call.
But do call.
And if you don't, do please call.
But do call, even if you don't.
Doesn't matter if you don't know the answer. Just call.
Call.
Call anybody.
About anything.
Just call.
For Philip's sake.
Call. Favourite film? Well, what's that one with that poor man who looks like an elephant? What's his name? Oh, you know, Colin Welland.
You know, dickies in the council, they got this noise pollution squad. I rang him up to complain about my neighbour who plays music, well, he calls it music, all night, 3 o'clock in the morning. They fined me 50 quid for shouting down the phone.
What I think's funny is the way they say watershed, you know. They say things like, you can't say tit till after the 9 o'clock watershed. Well, who keeps water in the shed, and what's that got to do with tits? What you got in there?
I'm sorry?
What you got in there, I wonder?
A cat.
You've got a mug in there, have you? Got a kitty puss? Lovely. This is Clover, my Daxie. I've always had Daxies. I like smooth-coated Daxies best.
Really? Is that right?
So, what sort of mogwog is your kitty puss? Hmm? Is it, a Tabbles or a Tom-Tom or what?
Burmese.
Ah, Burmy. I love a Burmy. Is it a girl or a boy, Burmy?
Oh, Christ. It's male.
Hello, Mr. Burmy. What's your name, then?
Yes, you can't speak, actually.
Ah, but they can understand every word you say, can't they?
Not much evidence for that.
My first ever Daxie was called Scully. I named him after Hugh Scully, who presents the Antiques Roadshow. I love that programme, don't you?
Pervertedly?
Do you know what I do of a Sunday? Every day after we've had our walk, because Clover and I always go walkums of a Sunday. Well, you know, just Clover and me, and of course my little pooper scooper. Because that nasty parky man doesn't like to see Poochie poop on his best grass, does he? No, so...
Oh, Christ.
And of course, I don't like to see Poochie poop on my best carpet, and if I do, Clover knows she can expect a visit from the Smack Fairy. So we come back, and I make myself a cheese and tomato toasty.
Oh, what? Cheese and what?
Tomato. Tomato. Tomato.
Tomato.
Tomato. Tomato.
Don't say it again.
I make myself a cheese and tomato toasty, sometimes 2 toasties, and an old muggles of tea, and I just snudge it down in front of the television and I watch the roadshow. I love my Sunday afternoonies.
Jesus, God help.
And of course, if it isn't the roadshow, it might be that animal programme with Desmond.
Desmond Morris.
Ah, yes, but we call him Desmond in our household, because he's like a friend, he's like an old chum, is Desmond. Or we might watch MasterChef with Lloydie, or The Closey Show with Jeff Banksy Wanksy. We love our Sunday afters, don't we, Clover? So, what's wrong with Mr. Burney?
What?
Mr. Burney? Why has he come in to see Betty Lou? Has he got a poorly tums?
Did you just say Betty Lou?
Sore throaty? What's the matter with Mr. Burney?
I brought him in to be killed.
Excuse you?
He's got cancer of the liver. I brought him in to be put to death.
Cancer?
Yes.
Cancer of the liver?
Yes.
Cancy wancy?
Oh.
You got cancy diddlies then, have you, Mr. Burney? You going to be put to deathes, are you? Is your little heart going to be made to stoppy wop wop? Are they going to go killy chum chums? Are they going to put your coldy woldy body wad in the grandy wound, are they? Eh?
Clover?
Yeah?
What can I do for you?
I'd like to have this man put down, please.
You low-corrosive lump of fecal horror! You maniac, bastardly turd! I would rather drink stale urine from Norman Fowler's arse pit than remain one moment more in your defiling company. You filth! You cack! You're the ooze of a burst boil. I abominate you, you towering mound of corrupted slime. Your every utterance is like the slithering hiss of a fat maggot in the putrid guts of a decomposing rat. Your face is fouler than the unwiped inner ring of Satan's rectum.
Have a cream slice.
Blimey, they've been up there long enough.
Oh, good.
What?
Well, if they hadn't been up there long enough, they'd have to go up there again. Silly going up twice, all those stairs.
Are you drunk?
Oh, thanks very much. Lovely cup of tea. Yeah.
Very nice piece of shortbread, too.
Well, yes. Now, as you suggested, there is evidence of your having wasps up in your attic.
Wasps.
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 Evidence, he said, evidence of wasps in the attic. What sort of evidence?
Shall I?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the evidence breaks down neatly into 3 parts. Firstly, there are 2 wasps' nests up there. Secondly, there are a lot of wasps up there. And thirdly, my associate swears, and I've never known him be wrong yet, swears he heard some buzzing.
Buzzing?
Not loud, but loud enough.
I see.
So what are we to do?
Will you?
We can play this any number of ways. We can pretend it never happened. Simply walk away, just go home, have a nice hot meal, watch a bit of television, go to bed, get up in the morning, brush our teeth, come down, have breakfast.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I'm just painting the picture.
Fair enough.
Right, that's option 1. Option 2 is we can get rid of them.
Oh, I think we should get rid of them, don't you?
Oh, yeah, get rid of them.
The wasps.
The wasps.
The wasps. Option 2. Yeah. Right, well, I should point out that option 2 does carry with it a portion of risk. You see, wasps... Well, you know, wasps are tricky things.
Whew. Boy, ain't that the truth.
You know, a wasp isn't a thing you can just get rid of.
There you spoke a mouthful.
You know, you can't just wave a magic wand over a wasp and hope that it'll just go away.
How much easier our lives would be if you could.
Yeah, no, what you've got to do is you've got to get inside the wasp's mind. Learn what makes him happy, what makes him sad. What are his wants, what are his fears. Learn to think how a wasp thinks.
And how do wasps think?
Oh, I don't suppose we'll ever really know the answer to that.
We can guess.
Oh, we can guess, yeah. But understand them, really understand a wasp, oh, not in our lifetime.
No, we're just poking around in the dark, to be honest.
Whistling in the wind.
We don't even know how little we know.
But you can get rid of them.
Oh, we can get rid of them.
That's no problem.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no.
if that's what you want.
If that's what you want.
Yes.
If you want to just turn away and carry on with your cosy, comfortable lives.
Cut off one more link with the natural world.
Nail up the gate into the secret garden.
Watch another star wink its final wink and fade into the inky blackness.
What do you reckon?
Oh, they can't do any harm, can they?
They can sting you.
Oh, they will sting you.
They will sting you. Yes.
All right, then. Leave them be.
You sure?
If you are.
The £87.50, please.
Our associate.
I do believe we have done a beautiful thing here
I
this evening.
do believe we have. And it's got nothing to do with wasps.
Well, welcome to the back end of the pantomime camel that has been tonight's edition of A Bit of Fry Laurie. Little hand is already pointing at good, and the big hand will soon be pointing at bye.
And we know what that means, don't we?
Hugh.
What?
One more squeak out of you, I'm going to tear your guts out and stamp on your colon.
I do ask for it sometimes.
But there is just enough time, you'll be horrified to know, for me to turn to our oh-so-welcome hospitality customers and to ask them to gaze down at the cocktail menu and tell me what is and will be their choice of farewell cocktail.
Well,
Oh, I think...
yeah, no, but have you seen that one? I mean,
Do please let us know, Mr. Music and I are very much on the edge of our tempers, isn't that right?
That's as right as you know, and then just a little bit righter than that.
So can we have your votes, Zurich, please?
I think we'd like to go for the swinging ball sack, please.
You have chosen the swinging ball sack. Well, for a properly prepared swinging ball sack, you'll need 4 shots of tequila, an item of gin, 1 shot of pure grain heroin cut lengthways, 2 measures of self-raising sugar and 1 of carbonated, some freshly milled tungsten, and to garnish, 6 nipple hairs plucked from a cabinet minister. It doesn't matter which, but in this instance I'm using Virginia Bottomleys. And as I prepare your swinging ball sacks, I ask this question in accordance with known principles. Please, Mr. Music, will you play?